Sanje chudan zoje jono la shanje pada dana chapsam je daka chishi jebe tsonam je lola benjer sanje nraba sho sanje chudan zoje jono la shanje pada dana chapsam je daka chishi jebe tsonam Dalai bencher sanje ndrabar sho sanje chudan soje chonala shanje pada dana japsam che dake chishe jebe tsonam Dalai bencher sanje ndrabar sho. Okay. Good morning again.
Morning, Geshe.
Good morning, good evening.
Geshe.
Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning, Geshe.
Good morning. Looks, I'm freezing. Do you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sometimes this happens. Oh, now I'm moving. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you, Geshe.
Good. Did I moving?
Moving.
Yeah, sometimes my
Yeah, you're moving.
Now you stopped.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
Can't hear you, Geshe. You're muted.
Thank you. Yeah. You guys looks good. Appearance me looks good. I don't know you mentally. I hope you're mentally also everything good. You're mentally also everyone healthy.
All your classes have been helping so much.
That's good. That's good. That's good. This is also my goal. If something to happen, something to benefit you guys, then that's enough. Okay. Do you have breakfast? Or you just get up? Or you just wake up?
I had pancakes, but I had a question. What is a momo?
It's food. Momo's food. One that the dumpling. Dumpling. Chinese dumpling. You got it?
It sounds good. I have not had it, but there's a movie about Chinese dumplings, but I've never had a Chinese dumpling.
Yeah, the same. Okay. Or do you finish pray? I'm okay. Anyway, it's a wonderful we all come back together. Even we are physically far away each other, but mentally we are all close. It's wonderful. It's good for all of us. Today is a Sunday. Anyway, I think yesterday we talked about loving kindness, right? Loving kindness and compassion. We are right now there. Therefore, I think loving kindness and compassion is the most serious to practice and most serious to benefit for all of us. Who has the book? Someone can read that the compassion side is how many pages? Like almost 2 pages. Did we finish loving kindness?
I don't think so. I think
Okay. Yeah.
We talked about loving kindness last week, but I don't think we read it.
Okay. Yeah. 제가 남점 가도 탭코너 록 대회는 가도 싫어. 세미나 펜은 도스. 탭도 마주 록. 아니 디텐달라 삼로다. 아니 파주 섭단으로 되잖아. 가도 펜으로 와.
So sometimes, just reading book is not very beneficial. So of course, first you have to read, and then after reading, then contemplate on the meaning of those words that you have read in the text.
제가 따라서 영어 샴바이나 따라서 샴바도 마치 록쇼다네. 그래서
You can read maybe the section on the loving kindness. It's not very long.
What is the outline number? 340?
yes, 340.
Okay.
Read
Who
it.
can read? Someone can read?
You want someone to read?
I'll read.
Yeah.
Sure.
Someone can read that everyone can follow. That is good.
Yeah.
Okay, I can read it. So in the blue book, it's page 529 in the blue book, this one, and it's outline number 340. The fourth cause, meditating on the love that comes from the force of attraction. This love appears in the form of a heartfelt cherishing and affection for sentient beings. Love through the force of attraction, said Geshe Tenley to an old woman, is just like the love you have for your son, Tolekor. In other words, love through the force of attraction is being attracted to all sentient beings as if they were your own children. This love does not need a separate meditation topic. You will develop it automatically when you have developed some feeling for the preceding 3 sections, understanding all beings to be your mother, remembering their kindness, and wishing to repay their kindness. So contemplate as follows. I can discount the uncontaminated happiness in the mind streams of all sentient beings. They have only the contaminated sort. Even the thing they take to be happiness has not transcended the nature of suffering. How wonderful if all sentient beings had happiness. May they come to have it. I will procure for them such happiness. Nagarjuna's precious garland mentions the following benefits of meditating on this type of love. The merit of giving the 300 types of food every day in the 3 times cannot compare with the merits gained from meditating once for a short while on love. Through such a person might not be liberated, he will achieve love's 8 cardinal virtues. Gods and humans will come to love him, he will give him protection. He will have mental ease and much happiness. Poison and weapons will not harm. He will achieve his aims effortlessly and be born in Brahma's world. The benefits are enormous, such as achieving the 8 cardinal virtues of love. You will be reborn as a universal emperor or as Brahma the same number of times as the number of living beings you took as objects for your meditation on love. That is why the meditation is called the Brahma Vihara, or stages of Brahma. But if you take all sentient beings as your object, all beings who extend to the limits of space, you will achieve the non-abiding or dynamic form of nirvana, the Mahaprana state, that is the Mahayana Nirvana Buddhahood.
Okay. Do you have any questions to that? Yes, Jennifer.
In the quotation that starts, I can discount the uncontaminated happiness in the mind stream of all sentient beings. And what does that mean? I can discount the uncontaminated happiness in the mind streams of all sentient beings.
가르쳐.
먼저 그 되나 그 배경은 가들라 있는데.
그게 되나?
다들
기시보도 들어.
무시 말에
아니 린진저 들어.
게시 보도래.
알아. 기시보도인데도
네, 어디라 더 보고 말다.
아니
그래서 보고라 잠바요 나시 전에 그거를 때라 티마티마 티오 따다하라 때직도 가져가서 먼저 걸서 다들 사맥이 되와 제지도 심지어
선지절라 삼매지 대화 딱 갈아요. 사치지 대화 때문에 됐어. 다 삼매가 단지 삼매가 대화도 요 삼매 대화도 가와요. 나 사치지 대화도 요 말해 사들.
아니 뒤오라 가도
그러나 대다 코로나스 대다스 코로나스 대화 롬바테 둥가지 라실마데 알레테 코로나스 베나 심제도 소소데 대화를 삼바테야 아니 이제 둥가 차대 그래서 다 사치지 또 둥가 들어와.
말에 비슷해서 말에 봐줘야지 가서 그런 데는 사치기 사치기 말에 사치기 대화마다 요 말했어.
제가 코로나스 대화를 삼아도 대양 안에 코로나스 대화 럼바 대양 라지지 둥가려면 코로나스 대화를 삼아도 사칭 소화 대화 들어와. 이나 대파트는 안에 그 둥가지 라지 차대 그래서.
말에 그 네 가서 즉 디스카운트는 가려야 되는데. 저도
제 니나도다. 대다 코로나스 대화 럼바 대양 코로나스 대화를 삼아 대양 둥가지 라지를 만들었나? 대 둥가지 둥가를 했어. 다 코로나스 대화를 삼아도 사칭 소화 대화 들어와.
Is going in. I'm just trying to find the exact word in Tibetan because it doesn't really make sense, when we just tell it in colloquial Tibetan.
저때 배대왜?
배우들 거든요.
배대나 근데 쇼단 십자 아니 작성나도. 저 안에 찍더라. 잠봐.
남도 라전데 배우들.
가지 코로나스 대화를 삼대와다 이제 다 둥가 라지를 만들어 버렸어. 둥가 차대 그랬어.
Jennifer, could you read it again in English? Just that sentence.
Is I can discount the uncontaminated happiness in the mind streams of all sentient beings.
The next sentence is they only have the contaminated source.
야, 잠시 딱 맞아야 돼. 샘제들이 삼매지 컨트롤해야 돼. 강화되죠. 샘제들이 잘라 삼매지 대화 딱 갈아요 돼. 사실제 대화 삼면 문득스나. 컨트롤 삼매지 대화도 가와요 요 말이에요. 얘나 사실제 대화 삼면 문득스.
인지나는 대랑 나기면 되다.
다시 컨트롤 랍제 되려면 돼. What the benefit, Jennifer, can you write it again?
Read the whole.
Yeah, no, I understand that English part, but the England the I can discount the uncontaminated happiness
And discount.
What does discount means here?
Devalue. It doesn't
exist. It doesn't exist. Uncontaminated happiness doesn't exist.
Deborah,
What do you say, Deborah?
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Discount it. I mean, it's sort of an odd word to use,
Yeah.
but it's not used a
So it
typical
doesn't
way.
exist.
Yeah.
That's what it means?
I think in this context, that's what it means.
Yeah.
It's not normally what discount means, but in this context, it does.
Allow the uncontaminated happiness.
Yeah, that.
Allow you don't like.
Yeah, this kind of pain on the was. Semje tabje jala samje dewa tak kala yosna yo mares. Tak kala yote. Sachi dewa tsaya mundusna. Samje dewa da ta yo mares.
Teacher kardo.
And the teacher da tata kono so dewa lamba teya dungje rajal mande set.
네, 따다르셔.
그래서 가마드레셔.
그 가마드레셔. 가서 혼자라 사체 대화도
사무지 대화도 딱 갈아요.
사체 대화 말했어.
오다 텔라지 안에 사제 대화도 요 말했어. 그래서 대화를 삼바 대야 동아잖아.
Why it says I can discount? What does that mean? I can discount, right? That's very confusing. But in Tibetan, what it says is that all sentient beings, let alone the uncontaminated happiness, they even don't have contaminated happiness. They're lacking even contaminated happiness.
So
that's what it's saying in Tibetan. So I don't know why in English this was like it said I can discount. Yeah, that's
Bad translation.
Ah.
It was a bad translation.
Yeah, it sort of means I can rule out that they have uncontaminated happiness.
Right.
It's a little bit archaic.
So actually, what it means is that, let alone the uncontaminated happiness, even the lacking contaminated happiness.
Well, our translation says they have contaminated happiness. Our translation says that they do have contaminated happiness. They just don't have uncontaminated.
I have a different translation.
Oh, I have an older one. Maybe maybe it's changed. I have the older version.
No, I'm saying I have a second translation I can read from a different book. It says, all sentient beings have not even been able to gain impure forms of happiness, let alone happiness that is free of the mental afflictions.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds more like what Damcho was saying.
Yeah.
Then what's after that? What is after that?
After that, at present, the experiences they mistakenly take for happiness are in truth only various forms of suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
thank you very much, Geshe.
Good. Yeah. There's sometimes.
Thank you, Bob.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Deborah and Bob.
Yeah, that's good. Any other questions?
Geshe, I have a question.
Yes.
In some ways of explaining this sevenfold cause and effect method, they use different language in English, at least, for the fourth step. Sometimes they call it affection, great affection, instead of attraction. Can you talk about the difference between those two things?
그래서 아래 잠바이다 잠바. 이번 잠바당 아니 잠바.
이원게 잠바 당한다. 그래서 제외 잠바세요. 이원게 잠바 제외 잠바.
다나 영어 잠바 세대 다때 니제 친구 년龄이 정문에도 차대요 그랬어. 영어 잠바 세대.
아니 제외 잠바세요.
제외 잠바다 다 동아 잔대기 로삼래. 동아제 잔대기 로삼. 말 대화다 된대기 로삼.
So, well, the love that comes with the force of attraction is, Geshe says, is the real cause, or it's the actual cause, of the compassion. And the affection and love is just a wish, wanting sentient beings to be happy.
제가 대 아니 배자 가져나라 이제 전부 지라곰 배나 라섬 마곰 바라도 곰골라래 그랬어. 아니 가정 이제 내가 곰골 대 코셔다 뭐 보여랬어. 나 영어 샤바데 내버다 이제 내가 놓고.
제외 잠바데 제라.
저 제라 배자 가지는 셔 제라 그래. 이제 전부 제라 곰나 초고르다 그랬어. 제외 샤바데다 둥아 대바다 된들로 대바다 댐버 쇼고 삼블로 그래.
So in some texts, the affection and love is explained after compassion. So you meditate on the affection and love after compassion. But for the love that comes with the force of attraction, it has to be meditated before great compassion.
제가 아니 영어 샴바세데 간제 딱 간제 니제 전부 장애 니제 년에 생에다 따뜻 차대 영어 샴바세데.
So the love that comes with the force of attraction, is the substantial cause, of great compassion. So that turns into the great compassion.
근데 영어 샴바데 세번째 대화다 댐바 처치 댐바다 나랑 그 제국인도 우선 된적이 생기셔지 연구다.
단다데 말다 가서 단다데 영어 샴바세데다 ninja 건드라.
제가 니제 공지도 니제 공대가 삼자다 저 대화다 댐바 대야 댐바다 나라랑 게 제고 누 삼삼다 아니 영웅 샤바 슈치벌 레고 삼자 참아 예동와 아니 예도 먹어 치우면
비대에 맞아 단달 하섬 레기 말해.
제가 라섬 레고 말 다든 말레네 아니 네 아니 삼자도 저 아니 둥하다 자나 가로 대화다 댐바라 제치스 다네 대화다 댐바다 나라랑 게 제기 예서 아니 다 니제는 내용 거와 다 단다대가지 라섬 고 손로 용 거래 이제 간제 삼자도 대화다 댐바지 대나치면 댐바다 나랑 제고 누 삼배 간제 영어 샤바 세다 드네로 용 거래 간제 이해다 먹어 치우면 게시
So may all sentient beings. This one is so the love with the force of love that comes with the force of attraction. It says that it's a mind that wishes others to be happy, and this is may they be happy, and I myself will make them happy. So that's the love that comes with the force of attraction.
제가 되게 다지 니제 첨부 대화치면 니제 첨부는 돼요 거래.
And so that leads to the great compassion, the Mahayana great compassion.
제가 시다 니제 세대 섬제 둥하다 잔대질로지라 니제라 그러왔어.
So then generally the compassion is the mind that wishes others to be free from suffering.
제가 다 샹집지 샘지 다 섬에서 거 된대가 니제대 아니 다 그레이트 컴패시다 자고 그래.
말다 great compassion도 이제 자주 생기 공개라.
제가 이만은 그 제가 된대가 니제대 다 샹집 등에 이제 년에 정해가 가지 샹집 샘 gelα 영에 때문에 샘 gelα 요 말다 돼. 그래서 컴패시다 요 토이 말. 근데 녀랑 gelα 아니 녀랑 수 gelα 니제 요레스 이제 샘에 요레스 이제 첨보요 말. 가르다나 샹집 샘 니제대 메와다 요 말스.
다 뉴제 첨보를 자주 깨고 왔는데 자주 깨서라. 뉴제 첨보 제가 말았네.
제가 니제 첨보 가능하도 니제 그레이트 컴패시다 대체 원서마다 가지 니제 좀 가지 다 니제 첨보 다 니디 년에 로고도 차더라. 가지 가로 다
말다 결혼하는 다 뉴제 좀 장주 쌤 있으면 뉴제들은 뉴제 첨보 쓰거라.
야.
이 수도면들은 장주 쌤 공화자 대 뉴제 첨보 공화라든 장주 쌤 깨서래.
강을 뛰어 말 강을.
그런데 때는 심발라 때는 깨고라.
제가 나도 니제 첨보서 시작도 남자 니제 첨보야. 다 대체에서 보고는 이제 샤주쌤 깨서고. 샤주쌤
나도 장주 뉴제 첨보다 장주 쌤 뉴제 첨보 대가서 장주 쌤 깨어 말아.
깨어 말.
이거 때는 장주 쌤 깨 매자 때는 그 장주 쌤 센스 말아.
뭐 단다시다 니제 첨보 시대도 말아. 시다 니제 첨보 녀란다 강을 열어 봤어. 니제 세대 시다 니제 세대 녀란도
니제 첨보야 말거라.
네, 제가 니제 세대 섬제 참여자를 여왔지. 다 니제 첨보 세대 안에 대화 첨보 가담 되려면 내왔지. 근데 니제대 샤주 섬지 되려면 가다 니제다 니제 첨보를 그래서 들으라고 권한단 적이 없다.
나나가도 가서디 장주 쌤 뉴제 첨보 시가 말아.
다 대화 이제들 대로 해들.
나도 땐 장주 쌤 깨식 말아.
대화 제어 말다 대 샤주 제어라면 다 거의 간들에 아무나다 샤주 샘지 다 예배죠. 샤주 샘지 예배죠. 정해 니제들 니제 첨보라 그래서 들으라고 권다.
뭐 딜라마데 장주 쌤 심발한데 장주 쌤 깨고 왔어 저도.
대 차고도 다 파지 샤주 샘 예배절라는 거면.
So yeah, so then after that, after the love that comes with the force of attraction, that turns into great compassion, which is wishing all sentient beings to be happy, and that is that also is the substantial cause of the bodhicitta, so followed by that great compassion, which is wishing all sentient beings to be happy. All sentient beings to be free from suffering, and then you develop, so I myself, will make them all happy. And that leads them to generate bodhicitta. So in order to do that, I have to become Buddha. So I want to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentients. So that's how it leads to generate bodhicitta.
제가 안에 도들랑 도와. 이제 전부 시반대 차와가나 동아 텔레 트라나 삼바 삼마 동아 텔레 트라와시 다케 샤고 냠베 소소 니톱 사삼 오다 근데가 하섬 장애가 니지라다 니지라
그래서
소소게 변다 동아다 잡았음 좋아 주고 많이 봐지 소소 동아다 잡아다 다가 셔고 저 선배 안에 하섬 장애가 니지다라 니지 첨보라 그래서
So that's the great compassion, which leads, to develop the superior intention, wishing, not just saying that may they be free from suffering, but I myself, will free them from all the sufferings. So that kind of mind, courageous mind, wishing to free all sentient beings, to be to form the suffering, is called the superior intention, and that leads, to the bodhicitta.
제가 이제 제모사야 돼. 야만나 되는 이제 야만나 상주고 섬 길라 째섬 이제 되는 가르고 그래서나 다 보인다고 소리.
So that's the kind of bodhicitta. The compassion. The great compassion, and so that compassion only is developed, by the practitioners, who are entering into the Mahayana path and subsequently entering into the Mahayana path. So that kind of compassion only exists in that kind of being, or someone who have already entered into the Mahayana path. So the great and the bodhicitta.
다 시다니 제사야 돼. semchela mine dumada chana sambe lo tenejela ani nijela kres.
So generally talking about compassion is the wish, that wanted other sentient beings to be free from suffering.
Tende nijedo nyarang jela yores.
So that kind of compassion, can exist in the hearers and sorted villagers as well.
다 단다 니제 셴바도 다 대태와침보 야라 야무나 태와침보 강단 중에 야무나 태와침보 조성이 되면 좀 요사 말이.
So the great compassion, is doesn't exist in the mind streams, of the hearers and sorted villagers. That because this is the great compassion that leads, to enter into the Mahayana path.
다들 당도 셴바된 봐. 다 저도 세워줘. 로라 세워 조사. Is clear, Laura?
Yes, Geshe, thank you. I understood that part. I understand that the fourth step is the love that comes from the force of attraction is a substantial cause for generating the great compassion, which then leads to bodhicitta, which then leads to altruism and then bodhicitta. That wasn't really my question. My question was more, I guess when I was listening to you, it kind of answered my question, because I was a little confused, because in some texts, instead of using the word attraction, they use the word affection. But when I was listening to you, I realized that the force of attraction seems like it must be the substantial cause for creating affection, which is the step in between going from attraction to compassion. You have to have attraction, then affection, then compassion. Is that the correct way of looking at it?
So generally, when you talk about the loving kindness that we're talking here, that's or within the sevenfold cause and effect instruction, then that is both. So sometimes they use the translation affectionate love, or the love with the force of attraction. So I never use that word, love from the force of attraction. Only in this text, that way is used. But usually we just say affectionate love, which means the love that is the substantial cause, for generating great compassion.
So Pabonka Rinpoche is just being really specific about what causes that affection, which is attraction.
Well, I would rather say it's the translation. So it's the same thing. Yongchamba. In Tibetan, the word we say Yongchamba. The Yongchamba is used in everywhere. So so what does that mean? It means like you have to see. In order to have a love, you have to see that being and very attractive to you, like your child. Like Geshe mentioned, even if that tone, the tone lip.
Yeah.
That word.
The cleft palate.
The cleft palate. So even if it's a cleft palate, you will still see very attractive. Among all the cleft palate in a child, this is my child is the best. Like that. So you see it's very attractive. Then you have the love. If you don't see it attractive, you will not have love.
Okay.
So your love comes from seeing that person as being attractive to you.
Okay, thank you.
Good. 어디지 당아도 돼 내가 가고 들어난 거 같은데 영어 샴바든 가도 절 했잖아. 당아도 가르페는 도고 다 데려도 내가데 단디네 가장에 랍다인데 그나 영어 샴바 고나 폐 가서 요상아도 람름 게 쇼도 가다 람름 로이면 Lam-rim na tet jia do.
Here it is also talking about, the necessity, to generate, loving kindness, and also the importance, of generating it, and what are the benefits if you generate it. And also, Geshe mentioned last time that there is more detailed explanation in the Great Lam-rim by Lam Tsongkhapa.
제가 다 알아서 소소가 변에 냠용으로 삼도 나와 있나. 변에 안에 샘챈데 안에 이용 제신 방법 예도 나바지 소소 샤타와 있나. 다 되게 소소랑 안으로 가르쳐 그래서 저와 다 되더라.
So now the question can be like, if you see other person or other being attractive to you, right? And so what is the benefit of seeing other beings attractive to you?
다 딘리가 강하다 될라 아니 뒤내가 나가서 공조 사고 말이 세단 제거 말이 다 대자자자대 용 그래서.
So the very obvious benefit at that time, straight away, is that you will not get angry towards that person, right?
다 나중에
You will not, hate that person.
다 나중에 밑에라 가리 제거는 나 나랑 깊네 링아 여성 뭐 가리를 가리 샤주 쇼고는 제게 삼백 군줄로 다 제도고 그래서.
And then you also will be able to set a mind and thinking, I will do anything for this person.
다들 얘기 차도 빼자. 다 차도 남주 빼자는데 사람 다 가다 가서 미자 보면 짱짱이 받아 빼내릴 때 고대도. 그러나 차나서 빼나 다 조가 잼에 소소가고 담보 툭 되네 차사 제베 갑라 빼나 다와 치니 치치나 로카젤라. 다 오늘 전에 파티 치기친구는 쉐마도 같은데 요랬어.
So this is not in the text, but example, that may be suitable for you more, because all the lay people, like when even the attraction, like among the people, right? Among people like boys and girls, husband and wife, married couples and so forth. So first you fall in love with that person because you see that person very attractive to you, and you fall in love, and at the beginning stage, of your maybe marriage, or you become so attractive to each other that you can't even like separate for a moment.
대체 가르에서 나 봐줘봤대. 제신 방에 영어가 남아 시작했다. 영어가 남아 쉬우지 시작했다. 간제 전에 다 야부자자면 누가 찍은 통고에 말다 거기.
So that's because that person appears as very attractive to you, and you only see good things in that person. You don't see any bad things.
제가 대여와 인자 수수 샘주는 죽음이다. 수수절라 공tro당 현아치는 사금도.
And so because of that, then your mind doesn't get disturbed. You don't get angry or hatred in your mind, right?
다 나신기 파주와들 가리 제고이나 주 마두고는 루탄 제도도.
And then also you will be able to do whatever you need to do for that person.
제가 인제다 된거도 차받은 제대로다 여다 임바이나 인도 그 영고 샴바다 되는 영고다 되는.
And so in that case, it is kind of mixed, with the attachment, desire, right? But anyway, so the loving kindness, the love that comes with the force of attraction, it's like that, comes like in that way.
제가 안에 다들 차받은 제외 진짜 가르나 안에 가도 로카시 야마나 다와 카시다 안에 대 둘 안에 shumane 다 바제 ngani 카잖아 야 누가 사면 내가 도왔어.
And so in that case, in the example that I gave, of the couples, that's mixed with attachment. Then how you find out that it's mixed with attachment is because then it starts to degenerate. The love doesn't see, because it was attracted by attachment. Therefore, when the attachment goes down, then your degrades, and then you want to be far away from that person, and the end, then you just separate completely, divorce that person like that.
어다데 그 가가 맞제와 임바이나 같이 단념도 메서고 대화나 당님만 나지 고대마 가든 주바 쇼다야다 텔렉도 왔어.
So even if you don't get completely separated, like divorced, but still even if you live together, then there's no attraction like before. You always doesn't get along with each other, get into fight, quarrel, and like that keeps on happening, throughout the life.
제가 되게 잡땡이 테마데 콘 대차도 차받은 데다가 고 땡겨.
So that shows the sign that attraction that you had was mixed with attachment.
제가 차바던 제메베 오늘 영고 샴바 세대니 제도나고 단다 슈 체리 로면서 간제 델리게 담부 가고 좋아도 저는 졸라요 말 고야 단슈 체리 로에서 왔어.
And so if he was not attached and not mixed with attachment, then your affection and love to that person would become even greater and greater. It always increases to limitless, to great affection and love.
제가 다 전화도 된 냠뇨요 담보 전화서 가보 냠도 두개 값다. 자다 잠네 다와 가지 로케 되니 좋아도 요에서 되니 값주네.
Do you have that experience, of first meeting with your husband or wife? And then, then the experience, with being with that person for 1 month, for 1 year, for 10 years, how is the feelings?
Feeling young, yes.
The feeling doesn't stay same, right?
There's a saying that love is blind. And
no, love is not blind because love is under control attachment.
I wrote that down, attachment, but my
attachment long also blinded by attachment.
제가 간다 땅에 라 진짜 담보 전화서 배나 담보 라야 돼 누가 공도 전에 사무고 미파조 가자 공도야 마사 파디 찍질라 간제 레페 찾으면 도구면 돼 영어 샤마지 제기도.
So like I said, this when you first meet the person, your attraction is so strong that you don't see any bad thing in that person. You only see the good things.
제가 다 영어 샤마서 지나다 든데지 레고다. 든데지 네바 용거다.
And so the love, from the first of attraction also comes like that, comes in the same way, but without the attachment.
든데지 영어 토와에는 간주 남주 삼로 사람 마다와 간주 공도 됐다 두쇼 들었어. 제가 공도 코로 매와 소장까지 잠바 영어 샴바전에 수수자라 공도 대 매와 이 영어 샴바 제사가 예달라 공도 매와 차로.
And so the most benefit, the biggest benefit, of having that love, is you will not have any anger or hatred toward that person. So when the anger and the hatred and the love are like contradictory to each other. So when you have love, then you will not have hatred towards that person.
제가 다 되게 전화도 냠뇨도야지.
Do you have that experience when you love somebody? Do you hate at the same time person? No, right?
담보다 다 담보 앞에 나와 가지 로카지 가야 돼.
For us at the beginning, right? When you first meet the person and you find that person very attractive.
근데 돼야 저도 냠뇨여야 돼.
Anybody?
Anyone has experience like that? Are you guys
It depends on if the love is reciprocated or not.
Well, what do you mean by the reciprocated love?
Well, if it's not mutual.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had that experience.
가르카르세?
펜준 잠바래다. 펜준 니가라 찍바메나 된 영가 된 거랬어.
제가 대체하도 야.
가지고 저 거부 땜바이나 그냥 거부 인거랬어.
제가 다 대대 가는 배나 루마 델라 가오 때한테 소소도 내와라 봐서. 또 자가 배워나고 샤르네 쿠테 놀고 가자셔. 대 가르와. 다 루마한테 소소 가오 때문에 미 담고 말아와야. 다그 밀레와 담고 말아와.
다 소소 다 가서 펜준 여자 연애 담겨라.
제가 펜준 여자는 대화도 담겨라 봤어. 내 사와도 마체고 소소 간가 담조장자로 와.
Yeah, so usually, in this country, it's a mutual, right? It's a mutual because, you first meet and you then find, that person is attractive and that person also finds you attractive. Then you both agree and then you live together. It's not like in the East, where somebody comes from West, somebody comes from the East, and they're met together in the first time and they're wedded, they're married. And during the first night, they see each other's face, not like that, right?
진짜 내려는 소소 담가 영화다 담보네 고 소소 따다 영화도 고 담가 영화다 같이 되겠다 같이 안에 세바 슈치모 때도 가지 니잖아 다 소소 삼다 단데 저기도 삼다 레고 니가.
So here, you choose, right? You choose each other. You first meet and you find out about each other, and then when you really see that that person is compatible with you, then you choose, to settle down with that person.
당내 지나도 드베 탑시 가르쳐나 같이 미 파초바도 수수고 제시 예동오에 나바 샤토와나 수수절라 간지 수수지 용모도 샤단 코로도 마용한테 용도도 못 당기셔 됐다지 제거다.
So my question is, do you have experience like when you love that person, right? When you have, when you find that person very attractive to you and love that person, then does it help you to like not have or at least reduce your anger and hatred towards that person?
그나 대값도 담보다 담보 나와 가시지 로카시 단다는 것도 단달로 소비 좋아지면 가요나 연나 다고 니바차다 다고 생각마디 오마래.
So especially at the beginning, like first month of your marriage or first year of your marriage, but after 2, 3, 5, 10 years later, then it's old. So even if you have that attraction, you can still hate that person or get angry towards that person because of that person not agreeing with you or nagging at you and so forth, right?
And 그거 니바차는 땜보여 말도 그 잡아내야 된다.
So when it's all like that, then it's not very, you can't say, no, I don't have hatred toward that person. You can have hatred, you can get angry, but you can still love that person at different times.
제사당에 다 나와 담보, 배나 나와 찍라. 장사 잠내 소소 가사기 밑에다 장사 전에 나와 찍라. 배 무드비 잡고 찍도고다 간다. 이 지역은 주바지 효고요 말해.
So after getting married with that person, during the first month or maybe first week, you are very like happy and attracted to each other that you don't get angry at all. Even that person says something bad, you don't get angry. Even that person doesn't do what you want to do, you don't get angry. So you always like because your attraction is very strong. So no matter what that person does during the first month or week, you don't get angry towards that person, right?
Do you
have that experience?
Yes.
So that is the kind of an attraction you have to have in order to have. You have to have towards others in order to have a genuine love towards them. The love that comes with the force of attraction. So why you are happy at that time at the beginning of your marriage life, like first month or week, why you are very happy? It's because you don't have any anger or hatred.
남중아도 콘트롤세대 콜레바이나 코로나치나 까야가 되게 코로나때 말아서 손쪽 챙겨지 임베 선호영아도 콘트롤 강하라고 될 주샤게로 왔어. 다때 노래.
So and then after that, when we hear that too much, and then you start to get angry. So anger comes as a protection, right? Like a protection, like a defending force. So when somebody says something, then you show anger, to defend yourself or to protect yourself.
제가 텐데게 미치바인 바치 메데게 차 담보 투베가 양원의 차사 제비 니마 니스무젤라 디가 그 남조때 단다 지치나 단데 변화 로추 정어질라 디게 남조때 전화 때나 초다나 코로사이나 내마주 코로사요 말에 그 남조 찍바 때문에 레다이나 내마 코로 마사와 단다 코로사와 가리 내마 전화때 예동와 슈 통거래 다 단다 예동외로도 콜라사리 디존데 봐.
So the same appearance that she or he showed at you, right? Now, like say now after 10 years or 15 years, that appearance or that expression, makes you become angry. But that same expression or same appearance 10 years ago, 20 years ago, during your first month or first week of marriage, same expression, same appearance doesn't make you angry at all. Why?
저도 기절락 시작에 추 마셔가지고 가지고 시작될 때 맞어. 내 뺏는 거 되게 냠뇨들 때네. 아니 나도 영웅 샴바세 된 거니 샴바세지 간지 파주와 예동와인 통했나? 알레 되게 소소선을 팽도 삼다 고아도 되라고 그러다.
You don't think Geshe is talking about all these love affairs rather than talking about dharma. But this is really important because it is related, So when you develop the genuine loving kindness or the love that comes with the force of attraction, And this is the kind of affection. This is the kind of feeling you should have towards other sentient beings. Just like you have a feeling, of attraction towards your spouse, during the first week of your marriage.
제자마다 나도 공도 사들래만나 제가 남중 가도록 조보야 보고 고고래 미단 저와야 보고 고고래 봐 아니 공도 레바나 조보야 보간가 갈래 라는 거래.
So if you have anger, then that destroys your relationship with others. You usually want to have a good friend, good partner, but if you get angry, then that will destroy, and they will all run away from you.
제자 대선에 지나도 다 염려를 배자. 가장아도 공도산이 수수고 조보 간가다 다 녀워 간가다 다 힘을 로chan도와.
So if you become angry towards your friends, then those close friends become far, and then the far friends becomes completely out of your life.
그러와. 다 나체게 아니 고로라반 아니 수수 수보 내당한 내가 요리. 내가도 저 속에 말 하고 요 말아.
And then like that, also the anger, like this disturbance mind, right? Which also affects our health, which we don't realize, right?
제가 공도 사대와나 텔라데네 차신도라데네 하레트 차데기래도 와.
If you have anger, strong anger, then that can raise your blood pressure, and then that can cause headache, migraine, and so forth.
다 나지가 템바 냠도 요리 템바.
And like that also decreases your memory.
텔라데네 공도 가디지나서 나 요보 겐도 그래. 수보 로마겐 수보마 겐도 그래.
And then with the anger also you age faster. If you're not that old by year or by time, but your appearance looks much older.
그래서 수수젤라 리포야 루송 다 리포 소야기 잘라서 냠도 그래서 봤어.
That's because all these the cells that protect your body also decreases.
다 나지게 변에 니마질라 수수그 변에 야포 자자자체나 공로서나 자자 섬비도 그 마와서 그래.
And then also whatever good things that you have done will be destroyed. All your merits gets destroyed by anger. And so even if it doesn't destroy 100% of good things that you did, but at least it will destroy like 30% or 40% of good things that you did.
제자 공로 가디지나 사대와이나 아니 되게 수수 아니 반나 리컴 종화전 축지 아니 나사대와는 요보 나사던 그 조조인 봐. 오다직 세나 폭 조조인 봐. 나 조조인 봐도 용어예요.
And then also that unbalances your elements, the 4 elements in your body, and because of that you are very prone to get sick, or the diseases come into your body very easily.
제가 변에 단다 생도 변에 무슨 투 댕게지다 섬 혈려 영어지 문이라 나사 찍봐 요와이나 무슨 투 댕게데 약 아니 트라이얼은 고라 요르스 락도 엔테리빌라기 요르다.
So it's in the scientists say that doctors and scientists say that a person, two people who have the same kind of disease, one person have a very relaxed mind, the other person have very disturbed mind, like disturbed by anger and so forth, and it takes longer for the disturbed mind to get better.
제가 소소 미 봐줘라 제시 예동업의 로직 제타와이나 더서 차상 까서다.
And so the remedy to all these problems that I just mentioned is seeing other person attracted to you.
제가 대 영어 참배 아니 대 영어 참배가 변해되다. 예동 영어 참배서 뺏는 것이 모르도.
So that's the benefit of the love that comes from the force of attraction.
제가
right?
제 아니 전화 통화를 저 때문에 막 가려야 하고 계절라 저때 냠냠하다. 나는 냠냠요 말이다. 이날 전화소라야 빼다는 것도 빼샤인 봐. 빼디 전화도 냠냠요 따다.
So then you might say, how do you know, Geshe-la? Have you experience? Then you say, no, of course I don't have experience, but you can find out from your experience, the example that I gave. So you have experience of that.
제가 다 나중에 미파쇼와라 치고 아니 가두고 좋아야만나 아니 텔라 잡아면 봐지 텔라 다음에 와야나야 소주 선발 흘려 죽인 거래서.
And also, like the attachment is the same thing. If you don't have that kind of attachment, to others or hatred to others, then your mind becomes more relaxed.
그냥 나도 드림 조보 사와지 들어와이나 그 미세케 요말 그 하하하 저 파드니가 개모셔 잘하냐면 돈으로 그 뒤고 나도 더 누가 이렇게 찍으면 되었어. 대대 나도 대 좋아서라 요 말에.
And so somebody that you meet, for the first time, you just, kind of, know each other, and you just talk and maybe have a cup of tea together, and then that doesn't give you any feeling, right? Doesn't disturb your mind. You are not attached to that person. You are not angry with that person, so your mind is not disturbed.
아니 님마 테마 시행하지 냠도 듣나 아니 지금 가성이 코 미하고 싶은데 다 들으면 돼서 아니 코 가래 야만 미디 하고 싶은데 아니 코 잡아쟁을 야만 더 하쟁 그랬어.
So then you meet that person, same person, second time, or the third time, fourth time. And after that, you see, either your mind then your mind starts to get disturbed, either by anger, seeing, oh, that person is not as good as I thought, he has this problem, that problem, and like that. And then you get angry towards that person, and it starts to dislike. Or if you see that good quality in the person, oh, this is so nice, this way, that way, and then you start to get attached. And your mind, again, when you attach to that person, then your mind also gets disturbed.
제가 믿어도 수수 가세 리와 삼지더니 수수지지 아니 컨트롤 시야다도 야야야 라용 그래서 누가도 통하는 거지.
And so the more close you become with that person, then your mind gets more disturbed by either the anger or the desire afflictions.
왜 자신은 나도 둘로 집어 나도 치료 로비 갑라 전화도 둘로 가가 니저 타파 명에 아니 가로 녀만명에 야보 건드려 왔어. 둘로 누가 간가 비게 바깥나 가로 미국 마토다 비고 룩샤이로 어떻게 지 말해. 제가 담보 레벨가 나도 동바 니저 얘가 개모셔고 여래 그 삼나치 고 마가나 고 파던 거 말에 고면 니저 어때. 아니 그 갈래 틀려 거.
So it's like when you go out, you put on your nice clothes, right? Very nice, the clothes very without any dirt or without any smells and then without any wrinkles. So very nice, attractive. So, but you have other clothes that are very dirty, smelly, wrinkles. So that's in the basket there. So you only show that, right? So that's what you see. That's what you see when you see the other person. You don't see the real of that person.
오케이, 다 더도 빼는 거다. 제가 다 나도 영어 샴바세디 계가 탑시디 빼는 거라도 다 딩아도 고모부 가도도.
So anyway, so these are very important things, and and like I mentioned about the method for generating the love that comes from the force of attraction. It's that way to see somebody or other person as being very attractive to you.
제가 영어 샴바 제발라 아니 맛이 텐데 주소하고 찍고래. 맛이 텐데 주소하고 요와 있나? 아니 영어 샴바도 그 깔림이 잠고 그러래요. 라슈래요. 배자데 티도.
And then again, in order to have that love that comes from the force of attraction, you have to have the period, the prior, the causes for generating bodhicitta, like recognizing also means your mother, remembering their kindness, and wishing to repay their kindness. So when you have that, then the love, from the force of attraction comes very easily, automatically.
제가 가들 단에 빼잔디 몰라 아니 영어 샴바 고만 빼면도 손은 마부 싸그래스. 벤 잠블 리그 빼 잘라가 강지 대피는 멜 샴바 땅와 레장 아니 샴바 영어 샴바 테마 찍고는 싶으면 뭐는 가라 손은 속 싸그래서 나가도 다 내가 도처럼 통고요 말아왔어.
And then there's also the great benefit, of accumulating great amount of merit, just by developing this love coming from the force of attraction to others. Like it's mentioned in the text, even like meditating or developing that love, that kind of love, loving kindness, towards others for even a short time is more meritorious than offering the whole world of things to somebody.
오케이. 제가 안에 두 진의 삼로다 다 나도 다다 조댕이 전화도 빼자면 뒤빼면 낸 거다. 텔레는 것도 로좀 뭐 쳐도.
So the main thing is to look into that example that I gave you because from that you can learn a lot.
제가 아니 코인이 받잖아. 아니 그 되게 니바드 매워 잘 온도와.
So as your relationship becomes older and older, then that force of attachment becomes weaker.
그래서 다 나로 그래 다 영웅 샤바 곰탕 mambo도와 영웅 샤바도 곰탕 mambo도와.
And so there's many ways you can meditate on that affectionate love, right?
제가 다 간지 아니 쇼치라야 배나 다 맛이 전제사리야 제왕 한번 곰탕 깔래 힘으로 서고 쉬운데 삼나야 지시나 영웅 샤바 코랑 걸 삼단에 가로대야 요서로 봤어.
Also
맛이 전제도 곰에 깔래 요나. 그나 다텔라 맛이 그다가 막 캔에 도문가 간레이나 대도 같이 영웅도 남나 다 알레 영웅 샤바 주보 가는 삼단에 야 티바라네 야 대서 곰자이도 따라 따오라서.
If you find it difficult to meditate on recognizing all sentient beings in your mother, this is really difficult for me to accept that. I can't think of that like that. If you find that, then you can still meditate on affectionate love.
제 담봉아도 질 잠바지. 되네 영웅 잠바서 파진 렌트 삼부터 말로 삼나.
So first you have the love, and then from there you can say the affectionate love, or the love that comes from the force of attraction.
다 대해 삼도들 배나 나라서 배나 나라라 대화치는 가도 나라라 미가 계자 년보시나 가 가근도 미가 야보들나 가근도 소소 사만지 점나 가근도 가지나 가도.
So like you feel happy when somebody praises you, and somebody does good things for you, or when things things work out, right? Just as you wished, then you feel happy.
대행한테 도와서 다 나지고 수수 삐삐자 년년데 보고 컨트롤 야람로 야보진 대행하도 가도.
And just like that, we become also happy when things become good for our relatives, our parents, relatives, friends, right?
제가 다 되게 영어 되게 잠바는 것도 저 요요라고 그래. 다 잠바 된다고 것도 요. 텔레미비 잠바 요로.
That kind of feeling happy towards for others, we have that kind of love that we have to we have all the time, right?
이나 단다 대야 단다 텔레 공per당도 대야 공나 보다 코드란 건데 내가 때는 대와 야부지 돈 쇼나서면 되네 장장 섬데 섬다 대고 있어 곰잡네.
So that kind of love, the love for yourself and love for your close ones, is there. But that kind of love has to be like increased, right? So may they be happy all the time. May they be happy. May they be happy. That kind of thought, and has to be there all the time.
다 나중에 아니 다 되네 바한테도 권네 소수 침세 소수 모시바 콘도 가래 콘도 딱 가로 대화도 댐 먹으면 진생아도 개개요 말어 왔어. 그 대화 되나 야보여로 콘도를 야고잖아 난도를 야보연 거로 봤어. 도치 삼다 많이.
And then think about that kind of love, wishing them to be happy, or feeling happy when things are good for them, and that kind of happy. This is the love, right? And so that love, you have for yourself, for your close ones, and then you can expand that, to your neighbors, right? To the people, not your relatives, but people who are your neighbors, right? And you can think just like I have love for myself, for my relatives, my close people. Also, I should have love for them, because it's good that they're happy. There's no reason for me to be unhappy for the things that's going well for them.
아니 되네 바제는 소소 내가 제사 소소 남중 고유 두다 던조라 바고.
Then expand that, to to your colleagues, the people that you work together.
제가 두치는 바꾸거나 코나서 대화 콘도 대화도 되나? 아니 가리평에도 되나? 아니 나라서 평에 배하던 간도를 평에 가나 콘중원에 가로 만도 샘 추가 내가 치는 맞지 와였나? 아니 나라서 샘 추고 말아. 말하는 간도 대화 돼서 와.
Happy. If they're happy, then we benefit. We benefit too, because if they're happy, then they don't do anything that disturbs our mind, right? So if our mind is not disturbed, then we'll be happy. So that benefits us.
제가 대 파주 국대면 다 그게 국대나 콘도 야보제도 국대나 용거 말다 소소파 그냥 로 삼도 소소 그냥 당공도 와.
And so for if you're waiting for them to be nice to you, then it may take a long time. So, but if you are nice, and if you start to be nice, to others, then it's easy. It happens right away, and then and then others will be nice to you too. Okay, now we're going to meditate for a little while. So first you do the analytical meditation. So now analyze on the love towards yourself, towards your parents, your siblings, your family. So which would be better? Would you like for them to be happy, or would you like for them to be unhappy? Then expand that to your neighbors, to your city, and then towards your colleagues. So expand like that. So see, analyze whether it will be better for you for them to be happy or unhappy for you. So is it better for them to be happy or better for them to be unhappy? Yeah? So if we are asked that question, then everybody will say, yeah, better for them to be happy. We'll all raise hands for that. So then with that thought, and then you have hold on to that thought. It'll be better if they're happy, right? So may they be happy. May they possess happiness, like that. So keep on hold to that thought. May they be happy. May they possess happiness. So just keep holding that thought in your mind. So it's like your mind coming to the stage like a water. If you keep hitting and hitting, it will come to boil. So in your mind also like that. Yeah, so first couple of minutes, going to do analytical meditation. Then after that, we'll do stabilized meditation.
아니 대화는 쳐버쇼 대 다나 섬노 단 대오다스.
So now after that analytical meditation, you're going to do the stabilized meditation, where you stabilize your mind, to be with that thought. May they all be happy. May they all possess happiness.
오야 다 도시 곰지나 소확해 가로 전략에 대사를 왜?
So do you think you will have any results from meditating or thinking in that way?
그래서 대 일부 곰거래. 단단히 나도 담아 가실 거는 나도 개개 소한 얘기 말해.
So just meditating, for a short time like that, of course, we won't get much result, but if we meditate, we have to, keep on meditating for a long time in order to get the result.
가르나 다 가리나 무보 코나서 실력 반 가로 무보 코나가 다 가로 춘예가 전에 이 가리나 콜 가세 반 telaya 지금 레와도 전에 대든 선배가 코라 다 전에 통도 와.
So it's the nature, of the thing, right? So more you get familiar with that, then more you see the results from that.
이번에 가서 미라고 오시잖아. 당보트나 밑에 가네 시라고마다 아니 밑에 계셔 야네 양대시 파투 아니 거는 밑에 코바 가네 사방아도 하고도.
So like you don't find out, about the person just by, meeting that person for the first time, right? You have to keep on meeting with that person many times and talk to that person and for a long time, and then you will find out all the secrets about that person.
나도 칼라로서는 칼라 가나 두지 마 비제다는 칼라 토니 뭐라 가나 야루 아니 젤레가 파 비제다 추비다 아니 비제다는 아니 칼라 토카네 바 아니 다다 용도 와.
So like if you, put the food in your mouth right away, then you don't get much taste of it. So first you put in your mouth and then move here, bite it, touch it with the tongue and do that and so forth. And then you get the taste of the food.
제가 곰대다 두다다 두제 코 예다다 곰대지 곰대다 예라다 곰베게 셔 봐. 곰대지는 때 코라 땐데 코라 니바 인고에서 돼.
So you have to meditate on the object, like loving kindness. So if you meditate, then you get more. More you meditate, more familiar you become with that object. So meditation means to be familiarized with that object.
제다 다 알아서 질 단다 삼미지 대화나 간지 뇨모다 만데 대화라 그래. 걔다 나도 질 뇨모다 만데 대화도 요 말했어. 다 이해해왔지.
So anyway, earlier I was talking about that uncontaminated and happiness. It means like happiness unmixed, unmixed by delusions, afflictions, right? So that kind of happiness, we don't have it. As an ordinary being, we don't have that kind of happiness.
해마다 아니 사천지 아니 대화 tenji 상황이 요 말했어.
And not only that, even the contaminated happiness, the a valid, contaminated happiness, we don't have that.
다 대화되다 가지고 대리 대화 간이라나 다 대화 때모라고 봐지 대화 때모 그 중앙 오바 점만으로 그렇지.
And so even for it to be like a valid and contaminated happiness, it has to be happiness, that stays happiness, all the time. Doesn't change into suffering. So the happiness that we have, mostly, is not even a contaminated happiness. Because it changes into suffering, therefore it becomes a suffering of change. And so, so even those things that we think as happiness is not really happiness. It's in the nature of suffering. So that's what it means here. So they have only the contaminated thought. Even the thing they take to be happiness has not transcendented the nature of suffering.
So like,
desiring for a child, right? A parent and a couple is desiring for a child. So, if I have a child, if we have a child, we'll be very happy. But from the moment the child is conceived in the womb, till the parents die, they're never free from the worry of having a child. You always have worry, about your child, right? So about your children from the time they were born, and then maybe like so you lead them to be successful in their life, and then there comes the child of the child, your grandchildren, and then you look after them. So you're never free from these worries. Then another example I want to give you is wanting to find a partner, right? So somebody, like a boyfriend, girlfriend, like that, partner. And first you have a problem of not finding the right one. And then once you find it, then there's a problem of not getting along, not having the same view, not having same interest, and getting into a fight all the time. So every time, all throughout your life, as long as you have that, you're always, within the problem.
And it, that's
and even if you are separated from that person, you're still in problem. So you're not clouded, dull by that suffering of being separated from that person. And so some people, they cannot live without a partner, so they're without a company, without a partner. So they have to have somebody in their life to live with. So, and then for them, somebody living alone, is like big suffering for them. So how can you live by yourself? But then people who are living by yourself, by themselves, doesn't have that feeling. They are used to living by themselves, so it's not a problem for them.
That some people think that the monks' life is terrible. Because even the people told me, you guys life not very enjoy, because you cannot go to the you cannot do the samsara, what's that? Pleasure. You cannot do that. You cannot go to the party. You cannot go to the drink the alcohol. You cannot have the hair. You don't have anyone with you. You are lonely. People are that. Someone asked the one monk, one Geshe, ask Geshe, do you lonely? Are you lonely? Are you stay yourself? Say, yes, I'm stay myself. Are you lonely? No, I'm not lonely. My life is best. Say, why? Because I'm free from anything. No one can control me. I don't have to worry my hair, color, shape, everyday colors. I don't have to worry, even go to a restaurant, okay, what can we eat, what can I do, what can I eat? I'm going to shopping, I don't have to any discussion, okay, what do we buy, what do we not? I just do whatever I want. He said, my life is best. He said, I don't have time to be lonely. So, anyway, therefore, I think you just, if your mind is single is the best.
If you can think with your mind, then it's the best to be single. 촉시에나? Yeah, so if you can think, if you know how to think properly, and if you know how to think properly, or if you are contented with your life, then it's best to be single.
If you don't think that you're lonely.
So something machine.
아니 다 거는 sember chugro. So something machine 다 ngal ropo menga chubo de gondu samne.
If you know how to think properly, then your mind is very relaxed, right? Being single by yourself. But if you don't know how to think properly, and then you start to think, oh, I need this, I need that, and I'm lonely, and like that, you're not thinking properly, right? So if you're thinking that way, then you start to get problem of being single.
Okay. Any questions? Yes. Who's Michelle or Jennifer? Okay,
Go ahead,
Michelle.
Jennifer.
Okay, Michelle.
Yeah, I have a question regarding, like in the text, when they talk about merit, and they say you get more merit if you're meditating on love compared to the merit of giving different types of food. I'm just wondering why that is, because I'm thinking if I'm giving 300 types of food, my action is motivated by love. It's because I feel the love for different sentient beings and I'm giving the food. So I'm wondering why I would receive so much more merit by meditating on love.
제가 안에 드니 심바 동안도 시단다 개발랍 첨부 빼면도 첨부래나. 다 코라니가 더와이나 단다 아니 곰자바티. 곰자바티 ngo니 그 수수 샘랑 같은 콜라네 따기로 왔어. 아니 단다 심바 동안에 시단 샘단 레도 요다이나 야코 시 수보단 레다와 강게때 용화용 거 간지. 벤조 용게지나?
칼라도는 잠배되게 왔어요. 뭐 잠배 생각.
시단다 군노도 닫고 간에 제서 뭐 끝나는데 트레고 되나 단다 아니 수수 샘나 샴바 고만 나지지 슈침보 용거서 말해.
가르치는 거 말이죠.
다 간에 디가 까거더라. 응원에 자네가 섬제다 봐 제시 예동 오베가 아니 로치에 칼레 카오레. 배차는 가나서 배나 너와라 홈레스 피보들 배차 들다 요나 트레쇼도 이나 코믹스 코 제시 예동 오베로 쟁면도 고단 이제 코치 여섯 마리 코 직대샤마지 미세 코 예동 오나 받고 샤토면도.
So that's because you're seeing that person being very, with affectionate love, right? So you're meditating on affectionate love towards all beings, and by seeing these beings as being very attractive, right, with the force of attraction. Mm-hmm. And yeah, of course, when you give, it's very beneficial, very meritorious, but you don't really, even if you give with the care and love, but your love and care is not as strong, as that affectionate love that you meditate on.
다나지 인지미지 된데게 샴바 슈침보 요말 나도다 홈레스 직전에 나도 미세 토와 슈침보게 렉면도 고하다 이제 홈레스 인도세 고 직자샤마시.
So yeah, so like when we're giving, like from our own experience, we can't give food enough for all the people in the world, but when we give like $1 or $2 to a homeless person, We of course we see that, oh, the poor guy doesn't have enough thing to eat or wear, and so you give them money. But your love, of course, you have some love, but it's not really strong affectionate love.
단다 그 독자나 미디 파줘도 짱마면나 예 telling 것도 좋다 그래. 그 정확히 막 저도 그 빼셔야 되다 그도 치대셔. 제가 그
And not only not only that we don't have affection and love, even that mind wanting to help them and see them be happy is again mixed with like, oh, if that especially if the homeless person is very dirty, then you don't even go close and you like stretch your arm to give to that person, so you cover your nose and like that, so your feeling is like still mixed with this disgusting, so that cannot be this force of attraction coming from that.
제가 되게 나겠고 영어 샴바 슈치고 영어 도구 말했어.
So yeah, so from that, because of that, you don't really get that love that comes from the force of attraction from the inside.
매매 따로 가르다 앞에나 되게 짐바라 라바트서 나가도 그 짐바라 나가서 쏘았다 그랬어. 그 홈레스 소소 인제 짐바 땅 거다. 그 짐바 땅 거다. 그데 짐바데 라바트거든요. 그 짐바 락숍 그 니슴 그 가십 거네 직제 뭐 정도 내가 지금 말했어. 직제는 그 나사에서 도바치 요래 간지 쏘았다 그랬어.
Yeah, so our mind is all mixed with these impure thoughts about that person, especially if it's a homeless person, and then like you saw that person just peeing in the middle of the road, and then and without washing hand, and it comes to grab the thing from you, then you'll be like not wanting to touch that person, and unless you wear gloves or mask on your face, you will not go close to that person. So that shows that we don't have that love that comes from the force of attraction. We don't find that person attractive at all. So cannot have that pure love. So when you are so attracted to that person, you feel no disgusting. You have no nauseous or disgusting feeling of disgusting to touch that person's urine. That we have experienced, right?
제 상가 대가는 나기 간도 고 뜻음때 슉체 미체고 고 현재 혈로네 고 섭다 집바라니만 나를 고 자기 니바 제종에서 봐.
소소 파마도 보고도 살아.
야. 제가 어디 다 소소 파마도 보고 있는 거야. 나도 다 죽었다고 말이야. 그나 샘콜 제가 슉체 보여 봐.
So like when you have to clean your child, you don't find that disgusting. You're happy. You're very attracted to do that, right? And people, of course, in this world, maybe in this in this part of the world, maybe people don't have, but in the East, children take care of the parents. So when the parents grow old and then they become sick and they need to be changed, and they need to clean their urines and kakas, then they don't feel disgusting at all. They willingly do that, So because they find their mother or their children very attracted to them. That's why.
세상도 변나 샤쇼나 부고요나 부고 밤에 샘나 그래 다 너무 망가라 경고잖아 용을 고고 누서 그런 드리지 그냥 거도 부고 맞아서 호요로 왔어.
In the East, many parents, their children, because because they think, oh, when I grow old, they will take care of me.
땡고네 레어스 다 다르 부고 랭게 다 이만한 데 단다 대단하고 매다 이만한 데.
So that's really true in most of people, and then but it's not only like parents have that motivation, but the child also think that yes, it is my duty to do, to take care of my parents. They gave birth to me, they raised me, they took care of me, so now it's my turn to help them. And then when their child, when they get child, then their child also think of them in that way, and their child will also serve them when they grow old.
제가 다 노쇼라 간에 아마시다 부고 바지 부고 파마 용어도 다 부고 야가 되는 거죠. 그다음에 다 녜마 다 전화도 로세도 바지 욕으로 봤나. 다 전화도 부고 전화도 욕할래 가고 차라리.
In the West, maybe it's very difficult, especially nowadays, right? Mostly it's all by other people, nursing homes and things like that. But in the old days, like even in the West, in the old days, yes, yeah, right? The children will take care of the parents. Maybe you will take care of your parents, but maybe for your child to take care of you might be very difficult.
maybe don't expectation, okay? Otherwise, if they don't take it, then very despond. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Geshe.
Other question, Karen.
Thank you, Geshe. We're talking about happiness, and we have done the middle scope. So we've thought about the sufferings of samsara, and today we even talked about how our happiness is contaminated. So when we wish ourselves to be happy and we wish others to be happy, what happiness are we wishing for them?
갈라서.
대화다 되면 되나치 많아서 그라. 아니 딱 안줘 나도 대화데 나도 주기 대화 정말 대화 말했어. 동화를 하시는 자들이 딱 대화도 덤버실은 가래 대화 간데 두고 그랬어. 대화 간데 두고 그랬어.
다 늦어가는 사람들 맨날 알아서 대화 나지. 알아서 요바 나지. 드니 대화 용어 쉬는 안 되게 했어. 다 가야 나가려 왔어. 제 대화 이게 샤 지나도 이게 용어 쉬는 것도 토고 말어. 제가 소소 나지 용어 쉬고 근데 소소 대화로나 내 나지 참아 용어 쉬고 서면 되게.
단단 가서 대화도 돼 말어. 대화도 덤버주 다 되는 가서 다 가서 제검로 세단데 되는 제 WhatsApp 그다 되는 그도 나는 미 가서 둘러면도 둘러 대화다 되는 칸바면 칸바 대화 좀 dimdos. 그래서 되는 참 동화 하시죠. 되는 들려도 상기 살아거고도 탈바 토바치고도 탈베 대화다 상기 대화 거고도 삼바지 고고라. 되는 침 되는 대화다 되는 침 말어 대 대화도 내 잡아도 대지도 마상고도 되는 때 너도 기고라.
진짜는 제가 계속 고래. 되네 고래.
So generally, of course, when you talk about happiness, what we consider ourselves as happiness, right? So, so whatever people desire, whatever people desire, and then wish them for that, So that's their happiness. Nobody will desire to be sick. Nobody will desire to be poor and so like that. Right? So what they desire is, to have enough to eat, food and clothing and all these things. So if you wish for them because they desire that, then that is also love, so that's love. But, when you move up, as you go higher to the practice, then when you move up, then you think, okay, so just giving of food, to the hungry, shelter to the homeless, and clothes, to the naked is not enough. And because that's still, they still have, that's still in the nature of suffering. So I must lead them, to the everlasting happiness, of liberation or enlightenment. And so so that kind of wish, is the real love, right? Wishing them for the happiness of liberation and full enlightenment. And so in order to do that, I must become Buddha myself. So then that leads to generate bodhicitta again.
Okay. Now Jennifer.
I was looking for a further clarification of the text. Did I understand correctly, Geshe, that you said that sentient beings don't even have contaminated happiness?
sentient being도 말하다. 먼저 사적이 대화다 요 말세리. 심지 상마도 말하다 가져다 나 가서 소소기 올라오나.
다 소소기 오배다 가져도. 내 가게 누가도 가다 소소기 올라다 소소기.
So you can't say a sentient being, because sentient beings include also the liberated beings are sentient beings too, and Arya beings are sentient beings too. So so what we're talking about that is the contaminated happiness is lacking in the ordinary beings. Ordinary beings, those who are not superior beings, ordinary beings who have not realized emptiness. So like you can say those beings, yes, don't even have contaminated happiness.
근데 단단 가서 대화 진도 왔어. 대단 간도 대화도 고 아니 사실 대화 전이바 작은 말이야. 가지 고 깨들잖아. 고 동안으로 하지 보는 거 봐.
So the happiness that we have now, is not even a contaminated happiness because, when that meets with the condition, then it turns into suffering.
But isn't that the definition of contaminated happiness?
사적이 되어서는 대샤기가 말해봤어.
그래요.
내가 저 교회 동아들은 사적이 되어서 이거 말해봤어.
지금도 사적이 되어 라운드 말을 간 선입이 좋은 시당 제와이나다 다 다라는 로고 말해. 간제 당 알아서 간제 단다데 빼자 니고를 지 사제 대화셔. 다 되게 사제 대화 시당 사제 대화 고준의 단위자당 ram라도 왔어. 되게 시당 나지 제와나 대 사제 대화 자고 말해. 야 남중하라 소페나 아니 제외 동안라 사제대와 대야다다 시는 드들.
아니 간에 샤오다는 디 신나잖아.
아 되게 제다 제나 아니 그 동학을 하절 판조 만들고시. 그래서 나 만두 대화에 삼바데 동학을 하절잖아. 전저반자 아니 대화 말다 곧 다란도 왔어. 만두 대화에 삼바데야 그 동학을 하절 만데서나 만두 삼바데 아니
딜라 랍도 가는 만돌 영어디 되네 사적 대화 마도 요 말했어.
사실 다 이거
근데 대화디 가는 동화 뭐 주도 버렸어. 근데 랍도 되나도 인지노.
내가 사실 대화 요 말 랍세 되고 이제 빠지달라.
안돼도 그래도
되야.
직로다 저는 안돼도.
다르도 아니 사제레 아니 사맥의 대화도 파죠. 사제 대화도 요 말했어. 다르도
직로다.
된도와 샘제지 jel라 삼미지 대화 갈아요데 사제지 대화 사용 문득스
사제 대화 참에 미두스.
아 참에 문득스. 아다 코노스 대화 대화론바 대야 동아지 라질 만데서 돼. 제가 네가 사제지 대화 세대 동아 라지 판조 만들어 있어. 가지 나라수지 대화 트니 바지 가지 동아 라질 만데와 동아 뭐라 만들어 있고 가지 요모도 만데.
So there's a different way of defining, the contaminated happiness, right? And so in some philosophical texts, yes, that the happiness that would changes into suffering after some time or after meeting with the condition, when it changes into suffering. So that happiness, is defined as a contaminated happiness. But according to this, again, I think there's a mistaken translation here. And so in Tibetan text, it says, let alone, the sentient beings not having, the sentient beings don't even have, not alone, let alone not having the uncontaminated happiness. They don't even have contaminated happiness. Is that what you read, Bob, in your in the translation? Right? It says they don't even have contaminated happiness, right?
Right. Because it starts out saying they're not even able to gain impure forms of happiness, which the footnote says happiness which causes the mental afflictions.
They don't even have impure. They
don't even have that, right?
Yeah. So that's why I say impure means like contaminated, right? So that's the translation. That's how it is written in Tibetan. It says they don't even have. So, but here it says they have, right? So they have only the contaminated sort. Maybe the translator just made it up on his own. But in Tibetan text, that's what it says. Don't even have contaminated, let alone the uncontaminated. They don't even have, sentient beings don't even have contaminated happiness, because the happiness they consider a happiness changes into suffering.
You got it? Jennifer, you got it?
Not really, but thank you very much. I'll think about it more.
What would be contaminated happiness? What would be an example?
Got to say.
So according to this text, Geshe said, is contaminated happiness will be the happiness that doesn't change into suffering. So because he says, not even a contaminated happiness, right? And then after that, right after that, he says, because those happiness that they consider as happiness also changes into suffering. So that means that contaminated happiness has to be at least a happiness that doesn't change into suffering, according to this. But then, like I said, the other philosophical texts, they define the suffering of change as a contaminated happiness. So it depends on how you define it.
사매제 대화세대 강다 또만인가 또서면 강다지 대화라 사매제 대화세 사치지 대화세와 또만인가 또 매와예나야 안 대화 대 동아제랑절 판지면은 아니 사치지 대화세.
So 먼저 그래서 대화 인기 동아랑시 마중에 된 대화지 근데 샤워. 이거 참 가수스기 오주기.
바나타
그냥 먼저 잠바 건배의 대화지라.
어제다 제 샤면 샤체만 돌아. 샤마트니 바 공백 대바테. 야.
And so it's the like I said, the love, so the happiness, that doesn't change, kind of into suffering. So anything that changes into suffering, is not a valid contaminated happiness. So uncontaminated happiness, will be the happiness, of the superior beings, right? So the Aryas and Arhats who have this happiness. So that who have realized emptiness directly. So their happiness, will be uncontaminated happiness. So the contaminated happiness, it will be the happiness that doesn't change into suffering in the ordinary being. In the ordinary beings, happiness in ordinary beings, which doesn't change into suffering. Like just now you did a meditation on loving kindness, right? So that, that made you feel happy, right? So that happiness doesn't change into suffering. So that happiness, when you think about that, always stays in the happiness. Yeah, and that doesn't change it. Of course, maybe, sitting in a cross leg at the beginning was comfortable, and then sitting for a long time, then it changes into suffering. That, of course, will be, and it'll be a suffering, right? A suffering of change. But that mind, which is able to meditate on a genuine loving kindness for even a short amount of time, that during that time you have that happiness, and that doesn't change into suffering. So you can say that is contaminated happiness in ordinary beings.
Again,
like I said, it depends on how you define it, right? So in the different texts, it defines in different ways. So according to this text, liberation in the palm of your hand, so the happiness, the contaminated happiness, has to be like a happiness. It doesn't change into suffering. So like a high level happiness.
So
the low level happiness is not considered.
The high level marks, low level marks. Very funny. You might go to the Chije toilet on the machine. Another chuzo the we chuzo chidio shit the toga chair high mouth cloth. Then because a low mouth page cloth timid high lower high mouth shit. You must get it. You might call it. We don't know. This is not for me. This is a whole high mouth. I'm not high mouth. I'm low mouth. You might get Chije. Carry the Chije. The Chidere Bochegi, Shabji, by the Citrigate, not the teach, and the high level, the low level, Chiado.
So it's like the, differentiating the high levels and low levels. And so there was an assign. So this is the towels and clothes for the high level monks, and this is for the low level monks. Oh, I'm a low level monk. So
okay, that happiness by a high level happiness to high the mind bachi that did share you.
Something that's made the you get that there were those kind of
such a charo.
Such a deodora.
Yes, such a deodora.
Not that they deodorant they got the country of the color, the mother you go on, the color she would say to what dinner, the one more you go on.
The Koran or who can never any land.
And then, sorry, I just want to add more on that. And the contaminated happiness, like the happiness of the higher realms, so they don't change into suffering. Like we, when we, are hot and go into the water, then after some time, then that changes. Being in the water becomes unbearable. It's too cold, and then you want to come out of it. So like that. That's the suffering of change. So that's not a real happiness. That doesn't change into suffering. So that's not even a contaminated happiness. So like the higher realm and happiness, it doesn't change into suffering, but it gets exhausted. So when you have used up your merit for being there, then then you die from there. But your happiness doesn't change into suffering. So you can say that as the contaminated happiness.
제가 남중아도 멋져원 표시를 했더 아니 가고 소놈질을 봐. 제가 대고 사체에 초와서 다대 사체 초와가 맞다. 사체 대화라고도 가이다. 초와 대화는 양 시바찬으로.
왜 다들서 저러?
대대 가는 나오나. 다 가져 가나서 다 가나서 미기 대화 다 가나서 가도 나도 담아에 대화절했다는데 가지 다 남주진데 사직 대화래.
그러다 가져가 선함게 내기 되고있으나 디거라.
파진데다 소는 밀레긴 제비 대화때 아니 다 사직 대화 남중으로서 사직 대화 찍으러 왔어.
So and then also any kind of the results, from the meritorious action. So that's a happiness, and if it is within the ordinary beings, then that is contaminated happiness. So from the meritorious karma, you cannot have a suffering. You can only have a happiness, and that happiness, is is contaminated happiness within the ordinary being's mind. And then, of course, we say, oh, that happiness, but also then, like being born as a human being is the result of meritorious karma. So being born as a human being, it's a happiness. But then you get all these problems, sufferings in human life. Of course, then that is not the result of the meritorious action. That's the result of non-meritorious, or non-meritorious action, right? So. So therefore, that would be the result, of the negative action or non-meritorious action, and so that's not the valid happiness, of course. But being born as a human being itself, is a happiness, and so because that is the result of meritorious action, and so therefore you can say that is a contaminated happiness.
Okay, now I'm more and more confused. 저는 잠시 안들에 나도
So when you do more discussion, more debate, then you get more confusion. That's what makes you to be able to debate even more. So if it doesn't get confused, then you have nothing to debate about, right? So in order to debate for many hours into late night, is because you get all this confusion, and then because all these different texts explain in different ways. So that's what the monks do, every day, every night, they debate, for very long hours until late night. That's because they find all these, confusions, right? From reading from different texts. Oh, this says that, which one is it, which is really true? And why is it, so somebody said, why doesn't, the person say it that way or that way? And so you get all these confusions, and that's why you are able to debate, more and more. So if you come to conclusion that way, then that's nothing to debate about.
Okay, now we'll stop. Okay, thank you, everyone. It's wonderful. I hope you can do a little bit of meditation, okay?
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Jangchub.
Thank you,
Thank you,
beautiful.
Geshe.
Geshe, I want to show you something first.
You want some
I
one
want to show you
candy?
something first.
Okay, what's your one?
We're eating a leaf.
Good.
And sheep driving the car.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Good. Congratulations. Oh, thank you. I'll give you 2 candies, okay? Oh, even the beautiful flower.
And then this is flower for my mom. Did this.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Beautiful flowers.
This is Comic flower my mom made.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow. Okay, thank you.
Okay, page 39. Do short prayers. Saji Puki Jukchi Metok Tram Ri Rabling Jini de Gempa Di Sange Jingdu Mingteruagi Droku Namdak Jing Lacher Parshu Jetsun Lamekute Rapten Ching Nam Katrin de Jokchu Gipadang Losam Ten Bedre Mesasum Gidro and Munsotak Negurchi Yidam Guru Ratna Mandalakan Niryatayami. Page 43, the short long life prayer for Lama Zopa for His Holiness Dalai. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life until samsara's end. Page 49, the short long life prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Majjhima spiritorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. Page 57. Through this virtue, may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha's state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious, supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Ik me tse wei ter chen chen rezing, dream ken pe wang ko jang pel yang, gong chen ke pe tsu gen song kapa, lo sang drak pe Jabla Sola De. Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you
Thank
all.
you,
Thank
Geshe-la.
you, Geshe-la. Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank
Thank you,
Thank you,
Geshe-la.
Geshe and
Thank you,
Jangchub.
Geshe.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Geshe
everyone.
and Jangchub. Bye.
Thank
We are very far away.
you.
Very far away. Thank you.